watching Numbskull News, and today we're going to talk about this all-time freaking classic game and what it means to the Big 12, the Peach Bowl. What a freaking insane freaking game, dude. I mean, Arizona State needed 2 touchdowns. They needed 2 two-point conversions just to get to freaking overtime. And they did it in the fourth quarter, like 6 minutes left. Freaking insane game. Insane game. But before I get to what this means for the Big 12, let's talk about that damn no-call penalty thing. So, you got people like Doug Gottlieb, whatever his name is, whatever stupid-ass name is. And look, I've watched this guy for a long time. You know, he's been around the sports sphere forever. But that tweet, by the way, he took down, but that damn tweet of, oh, you can't call that at that time of the game. Well, dumbass, the rule is there to protect kids, right? Head trauma. Make sure their brains don't turn into mush. So that's what it's about, right? It's about player safety. It shouldn't matter what time of the game. Any time is a good time for safety. That's what I'm told at work. That's what we're all told. That's what we were sold on with this stupid-ass targeting penalty anyway. And it is stupid. I don't like it. No one likes it. But here we are, right? It gets called a certain way all year long, regardless of what team, regardless of what level, Power 4, Group of 5, FCS, doesn't matter. Everyone's dealing with the targeting bullshit. And here we are in the playoffs. And you don't call it because why? I mean, this is why Brett Yormark wants the clarification, right? Because they called it because, oh, it's just a bad time. We don't want to, we want to let it be decided on the field. Not, have you not been watching Arizona State? Their special teams is not that special. It's just not. And by the way, even if you made the call, it doesn't mean they make the kick. You're talking about an opportunity, a swing of an opportunity that they lost the opportunity to win it in regulation. However, that wasn't their only opportunity. I seem to remember a blocked field goal kick. If that doesn't get blocked and the dude makes it, there's no overtime. There's no 1 or 2 overtimes. If there wasn't a punt return for a touchdown in the first half by Texas. So, look, we got to give credit where credit is due. There's been a lot of talk about that penalty, but Texas earned it on the field. They just did. They did. People have been crapping all over Ewers. I'm like, did you not see the 4th and 13 pass? I mean, Arizona State brought the house. Ewers did exactly what any good quarterback is supposed to do. You make them pay if they don't get home. And that's what he did. He made them pay. Ewers played a good game. Let's give Arizona State's defense a little credit here. They played their ass off. Arizona State played their ass off. But there are 3 phases of the game. And Texas has an excellent defense. And they showed up for the most part. The offense made the plays they needed to win the game. And their special teams, outside of a couple missed field goals that almost cost them the game late in the game. But their special teams scored a touchdown, did they not? They blocked the punt, or blocked the kick, did they not? They did. I'm sorry, Texas deserved to win that game. And it's hard for me to say that as a Big 12 fan. It is really hard for me to say that. But let's just call it what it is. I don't blame bad calls by referees. I don't. You'll never see me say, well, that's the reason they lost, is because of that call, that one call. When there were a multitude of plays during the game, Arizona State, if they had done what they were supposed to do, don't let them score a touchdown on 4th and 13. What was it, 26, 28 yard touchdown pass. Ridiculous. But having said all that, Arizona State played their ass off. The absolute best game so far in the postseason. In this CFP, Arizona State brought that. Not the SEC. They didn't bring that. Not the Big Ten. Nobody else brought that kind of freaking drama to a game other than a Big 12 school, Arizona State. And it has been talked about. You talk about the look. When it comes, especially to the regular bowl games, the meaningless bowl games, they're fun for narratives and talking crap about other conferences or pounding your chest about yours. And, the Big 12's had a great bowl season. Those wins and losses, I mean, when you stack them all up with what Arizona State did in the CFP, that looks good. But for the most part, they're meaningless and it doesn't matter. You're going against backups most of the time and all this kind of shit, right? And a lot of times you don't have your own player. So it's not really it's not the same is what I'm trying to say. It's cool. But the most important thing about regular bowl games is the exposure and the ratings. That's what matters to the Big 12. There's other things that matter for other conferences. Well, I'm not a fan of other conferences. I'm a fan of the Big 12. And what matters with the Big 12 is exposure and ratings. Now, what Arizona State did, damn near within inches several times of beating Texas. They just helped legitimize the Big 12. This has been going on for a while. Cincinnati, 3 years ago? Albeit in a G5 conference, they're now a Big 12 team, but they made a 4-team CFP. TCU, don't need to remind you, 2 years ago, they actually won a CFP game, beat Michigan. They got destroyed by Georgia, absolutely destroyed by Georgia, but they got there. And now Arizona State does what it does. And you've had, for a long time, national people talking about how fun this conference is, how deep it is, and all of that. All of that's been good. That's been established. Now, you can't say, oh, well, why is this Big 12 team in there when other SEC teams were left out or any of that crap? No. You can't talk like that. There's even slight murmurs nationally, just in a few little places, about BYU being left out, being 10-2. And not even really been left out, but just not, they weren't really in the conversation for that spot SMU got. Ultimately, I think SMU deserved and earned that spot. I think they earned it. So even though I love BYU, I love them in the Big 12, I think SMU had earned that spot. I wouldn't have put BYU in there. I wouldn't have put Miami in there. Now, would I have replaced Tennessee with BYU? That's another discussion. But the first year of the 12-team playoff, you have all these blowouts. Indiana gets blown out. Clemson can't really hang with Texas. SMU gets blown out. Hell, Oregon just got their ass handed to them. Georgia just got their ass handed to them. Everyone's getting tore up. Boise State put up a nice fight, but at the end of the day, they just didn't have the guns. But there's Arizona State, who every bit of that game, maybe you can talk about in the first half, they looked like they were a little, 17-3, looked like it was too much for them. But by the end of that game, you're like, oh no, Arizona State is on par with Texas. Look, the talent gap isn't as wide as everyone thinks it is. And a lot of people have talked about it, and I absolutely agree. NIL, transfer portal. These kids don't have the patience to wait around for 3 years. Not when there's big paydays to be had. And you can get paid by West Virginia. You can get paid by Oklahoma State. You can get paid by TCU or Arizona State or Baylor or Texas Tech or any other Big 12 team. They got money, folks. And sure, your top line, upper top line talent, they'll go to the big schools, but there's quite a few big schools. There's several blue bloods to choose from. Alabama just can't suck everybody in. Nick Saban ain't there to do his little mojo sitting on mama's couch doing his little song and dance and sucking all these people in. Those days are done. Those days are done. But what this absolutely does for the Big 12, the CFP is so meaningful now. Look at what a structured playoff system does for the NFL every year. Monstrous ratings. This does the same thing for college football. And now, where it matters most, you get Arizona State showing the hell up. I was watching Shannon Sharp, Mr. Shay Shay, Mr. Club Shay Shay, I was watching him, and he's talking about Scadaboo, and you can tell he didn't know jack about this dude before that game. You know, him and Ocho Cinco, they have an After Dark podcast they do together. Neither one of them really know how to pronounce Scadaboo correctly. They didn't know who the guy was. They didn't know anything about Arizona State. They didn't know any of that. Well, now they know. Now it's gone everywhere. This is a viral freaking game all over the sports landscape. It is exactly what the Big 12 needed. It's what Arizona State needed. It's a win-win for freaking everybody, and it's been awesome. And you tie that together with the success that the Big 12 has had, Big 12 teams have had the last couple of years. This conference is set to launch. This conference is being legitimized. It's being legitimized. That doesn't mean all of a sudden we're going to be making the same money as the SEC or the Big Ten. Fucking A. But perception becomes reality. And the reality is the Big 12 is here to stay. And it can compete on a high level. The highest levels out there. And yes, we can one day win a championship. It's the way it is. And people are going to see it that way. Oh, the stock of the Big 12 is rising and rising fast. When it comes to realignment this year or next year or whenever it happens, you heard it here first, people. This is a legit freaking conference. When any team, Arizona State was picked dead last preseason. Next year it could be Texas Tech. Next year it could be Baylor or TCU or Colorado. It could be Kansas or Kansas State. Utah can flip the switch. I'm just saying, any team in this conference, it could be their year. That's the magic of this conference. That's the parity. That's the kind of success parity can bring you in this league. And you are seeing it unfold before your very eyes. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.